Indy Mogul.
This week on Indy News, I've completed the first cut of my documentary, and it's time to submit to film festivals. A new firmware upgrade lets my camera shoot RAW, so let's see how it looks. A crazy in-camera effect, how to animate photos, Bryan Cranston's low-budget project, and a versatile new stabilizer for lightweight cameras. Hey Indy Mogulers, Griffin here. Behind me is the first rough cut of my documentary, Sriracha. That is 1,565 items in the timeline. The most complex project I've ever produced. It's also the most expensive. I just added up all my production expenses and it's just over $10,000, which to me is a lot of money. To the industry, this is still a very, very low budget film. Last week I told you that I was thinking of spending $1,400 on a 30-second news clip from 1978, and it is totally worth it. When you watch the film and understand what this footage is, it's an emotional part of the story. To cover the expenses on this film, I raised $20,000 on Kickstarter in July, and $10,000 of that has gone directly to production expenses. Most of that is airfare and rental cars. I've also spent a bunch on Kickstarter rewards. So it's important to remember that not all of the money from Kickstarter goes straight to the film. I still have to purchase Blu-rays for my Kickstarter backers, and I have just over $3,000 left to do that, to promote the launch of the film, and most importantly, to submit the film to film festivals. I will have the film done very soon. I want to get to my Kickstarter backers at the end of the month. But in the meantime, I've already submitted a rough cut to 3 festivals with deadlines last week, and I plan to enter 2 more this week. Most festivals have an early deadline, an official deadline, and a late deadline. And all of the ones I've entered so far have all been late deadlines. But I'm hoping this week to enter the early deadline, November 22nd, for hot docs, which should improve my chances. In fact, just this week I heard the Camden International Film Festival director Ben Fowley say that he would rather have an early rough cut than a more polished cut down the road. So, something to keep in mind. Most of these festivals that I've been entering have used Without a Box, an online system for submitting all the applications and everything, and you pay through them. And it's kind of nice because, you know, you can fill out your plot synopsis, your director's bio, all this information that these festivals ask for, and you only have to fill it out one time. But to upload your film to Without a Box is pretty annoying. It's not a very advanced website, and they use IMDb as a video service, which is clunky, it takes a long time to process your video, and they don't even show it in high definition, so you might as well upload a lower res version anyway. Luckily, some film festivals, like South by Southwest, accept online screeners through services like, you could do an unlisted YouTube video. The Atlanta Film Festival accepts password-protected Vimeo links. But unfortunately, I realized I've actually missed their final deadline. It was a couple weeks ago. The deadline I'm looking at now for the Atlanta Film Festival is a Without a Box only deadline on November 22nd, so I'll have to use that system. Anytime you're submitting to film festivals, remember, when you're up against this deadline, how long it's going to take for the whole process. It took me for my half-an-hour film about an hour to export it, half an hour to upload it, that's all fine and expected, but then it took 4 hours for IMDb to process it before I could submit it to film festivals. So I plan to enter a bunch more, and I'll keep you informed about the process. Now that I've been through a little bit of it, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Also, let me know if you have any advice for me. This week, Blackmagic finally released their much-anticipated firmware update for the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera. I got this camera because it promised to shoot video as raw images, which provide a lot of flexibility for color correction. But when it first shipped, it could only shoot ProRes. And part of me thought I was crazy, but it seemed like everything I shot with this camera was a little bit out of focus. So I downloaded and installed version 1.5 of their camera utility, plugged in the camera via USB, and ran the software which installs the new RAW recording on the camera. Immediately, I noticed an incredible difference in sharpness. Now it actually works. Maybe it's just my model, but I don't know why it is so soft in ProRes. But the whole reason I have this camera is to learn about shooting in RAW, so once I learn how to color grade in DaVinci Resolve, I'll have a lot of power to pull details and colors, really manipulate this footage easier than images shot on a DSLR. The new RAW capability records video at 50 megabytes per second. That's almost 3 gigs per minute. That's twice as big as the ProRes codec on the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera, and 6 times bigger than the H.264 codec on my Panasonic GH3. Blackmagic recommends that you shoot with the SD card Extreme, the SanDisk Extreme Pro 64GB. That shoots 95 megabytes per second, and it costs $133. But I'm actually using the version that doesn't have the Pro in it. It shoots at 80 megabytes per second, and it's only $90. And so far, I haven't dropped any frames, but it's just been short test shots, so we'll see what happens. I want to show you a pretty crazy video that hit YouTube this week. A guy playing a bass, and somehow we're seeing these wild vibrations, practically watching the sound waves come off the string. The video description says it's not slow motion, but just high shutter speed. Many commenters say the crazy wobbling is actually the way the strings resonate. We just can't see that with our naked eye. But no, these commenters are wrong. The strings are not actually wobbling like that. It's actually the rolling shutter of the camera. Because each line of this CMOS sensor is exposed after the line above it, the string is always up or down, but each frame captures multiple ups and multiple downs as it scans the entire string. Speaking of unnatural images, if you've ever wanted to animate photographs, creating what's called a parallax effect, this week artist Joe Fellows shows us how he brings photos to life using Photoshop and After Effects. Many of you know here at Indy Mogul, we are big fans of the show Breaking Bad, and here's one more reason to love actor Bryan Cranston. Last year, while he was shooting a film called Cold Comes the Night, Hurricane Sandy happened and they were trapped on set with really nothing to do. So Bryan wanted to keep acting, and he went to the production assistants and said, "Give me a script, and I'll pick the best one." So suddenly, young production assistant Brandon Polanco is directing Bryan Cranston in his short film, Writer's Block. Just another reason that you should find a job as a PA. You never know what will come of it. Finally this week, Cinovate has launched a Kickstarter campaign selling a stabilizer for lightweight cameras. The Morpheus uses a gimbal and magnet for smoother shots. But probably the reason this compact device has exceeded its goal in less than a week is because it's also a tripod, a dolly, a slider, and even kind of a jib. The base model starts at $125, and for all the features, it'll set you back $300. On this week's playlist, I have the weird wobbly string video, the tutorial for animating photographs, the trailer for the short film starring Bryan Cranston, and the demo video for the Cinovate Morpheus. Thanks for watching.